Okay, so we'll see what is proxy server, and there are two things that I'm how the authentication of the clients are taken care using NCSA authentication and ACLs in Squid proxy, and we'll see a demo as well. Okay, so basically, what's a proxy server? A proxy server is a computer or a software that acts as a gateway between users and the internet. So users can directly access the internet. So that's a general procedure, or that's a traditional thing. So we introduce another component called proxy servers. The advantages of introducing this proxy server component is basically to uh, for security reasons, and we can fasten the performance, or the performance of the transaction would be better. So things like that would happen. So let's see what are the things that are there in the proxy server. Proxy server evaluates the request. So when I said security, it actually evaluates a request and sends the request to the destination server. And we can also put some restrictions. These users should not access should not be for example, if you have a enterprise network segment, and if you want to restrict few users the internet connectivity, yes, we can do so, all using this proxy. And whoever is trying to attack our internal network, so they will not have our direct access to the our internal machines, or the systems that are there in the internal network. Instead, they'll face only the proxy. However, we will have to protect proxy as well, but it's at least one endpoint is there. So yeah, so these are few advantages, and what we are going to see is proxy server, which is called Squid proxy server, which comes as part of the Linux. High performance, robust proxy server that supports caching of protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, and FTP. So it can be used for all of these services. So predominantly, it's being used for HTTP. That's a website. Is it has the ability to speed up the web request by caching frequently accessed websites and serving that cache to requested clients. So thereby reducing the internet bandwidth and gives quick response time. So frequently frequently accessed websites or being cached in the proxy server, and hence if some other client is requesting for the same site, so this proxy server would be able to handle such requests instead of sending the request all the way to the internet site. So these are the advantages, and thereby we will reduce the internet bandwidth. So Squid proxy, we have supports for caching, proxying, content filtering, load balancing, bandwidth optimization. These are the things that we can do out of the proxy server. So okay, so now there's an authentication which also can be done as part of the proxy. So there are two features here. So I'm going to talk about those authentication features. So authentication, we have feature called NCSA. I think that's a feature that's built into it. So when user tries to attempt try when the user attempts to access a protected resource or a website, Squid redirects them to a login page to enter their credentials. Once the user enters their credentials, the NCSA auth helper, which is there as part of this uh, Squid proxy, can be will get invoked, and this will check against the data in the NCSA authentication file. And once the data are, I mean, once the credentials are matching, so he will let the user use the website. Otherwise, he will not be able to use he will deny the user to access the website. So that's client authentication that we can use. Um, so there is a directive called auth param directive in the Squid config file used to configure this NCSA authentication, and we can give the credentials also. So we'll see the steps in a moment. So next one is the ACL. ACL is access control list. Access control list that is configured in Squid in two different components. So it's the access control to the Squid is Squid proxy is configured in two steps. there are two components to configure the access control. So there are two components. One is the ACL element, and the next one is the access list. So ACL element, this is a first component. The next component is access list. So the ACL element is will tell the type. So what are the things that we want to we this will we ACL element will identify uh, what kind of thing we want to identify traffic. So for example, so the ACL can be created based on source IP address, destination IP address, destination domain name. So many things we can create, and I will show you that in a minute in the demo how to create the ACL. And the ACL will be inactive until otherwise we have this access list. How to configure the access list? The access list can be configured only by this HTTP underscore access. This is the way to configure, and we will have to say a HTTP underscore access allow or deny, and we give the ACL name of the ACL here. So until otherwise we give this access list, so the ACLs that we have configured will not be effective. So in ACL there can be many number of ACL uh, which we can define here. So there are multiple rules we can define here, and under the ACL name, under the ACL name, we can have multiple ACL elements, and the access list is the final thing that will say whether this ACL can be allowed or can be denied. So only then the access list would be, only then the access control would happen. So we'll see this in the demo in a minute. Okay, so this is the demo setup that I'm going to show. Proxy server running in 172.15.17, which is connected to the internet website. This is the internet, and there's a proxy, and there's a Linux client, and we have a Windows client, Linux client running in 200, and Windows Windows client running in 4. So this is what it is. Let's jump into the steps. Proxy machine system virtual machine that I've designated to act as proxy. This is 172.15.0.17. This is the machine which will be acting as a proxy. So first step is to install Squid. Squid is already started and enabled. I'll show that.
So what is the use case for this proxy server, Alex?
Yeah, so the use case is basically any clients. So number one usage is all the clients would get protected because from the external world, the internal internal network will get protected because proxy is the one that will be at the front ending the traffic between the external and the internal world. So if you see the picture here, so this is the proxy. Do you see my screen? So PPT.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the proxy, and this is connected to the internet world. There are two clients here, Linux and Windows. So all of these clients are in the internal side. So all of these things 172 all are in 172 network. So whenever they like to connect to any of the sites in the internet, so it will be reaching out to the proxy first, and it will not directly try to access the internet. It will go through the proxy, and proxy will actually initiate the request to connect to the actual site in place of directly being connecting from the 100. Instead of connecting 100 directly to the internet website, so this guy proxy will do the job of connecting to the internet website, and hence the site which is at the internet, they will not be able to know who is contacting 100. So they won't be able to know the 100, but they will be able to know only the proxy. So that's the uh, idea behind it. Is it clear?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So same
Normally,
way.
we use mainly for repository updates. We use for any remote accesses.
Mm, yeah. So some yeah, repositories we as a server updating from the internet repository. Sometimes we may have to go through proxy. We can do that, but for website for web browsing, right? So if we try to access
Mm.
facebook.com, or if we want to restrict
Uh-huh.
Facebook, for if you want to restrict WhatsApp, or if you want to restrict some sites, yes, we can do all that using the proxy. That's another advantage. That's the next advantage.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so we can this is all this can be done in the proxy. So in the proxy we can create all the ACLs that we need. So whatever kind of ACL. So for example, we want to give access internet access only to the Linux and not to the Windows. Yes, we can do that by giving an ACL over here. And
Okay.
yeah, whatever things. So we want to give access only to a website to few users. So some domain, some internet web, intranet also. So if you want to give intranet access to some people and not to some other, not to other people, yes, all things can be done by this proxy. So
Okay.
another advantage,
And the type of, yeah, please.
advantage is, so suppose if multiple people are reaching people are reaching out to a particular website. For example, say for example, some website is there, abc.com. So assume that that's a site everyone would like to access it for entering their attendance or whatever. So if they connect to that site frequently, everybody connects to that site frequently, that pages would get catched up. So it'll be cached up in the proxy, and this pages, if the other client, next client comes and asks for the same thing, he will not, the proxy server himself will reply back. So that's another another advantage of having proxy here. So they will not it will whatever request that they are sending will not be actually sent to the actual website, but instead those pages, maybe the frequent pages that we are seeing, so all of those things would be cached up in this proxy, and proxy itself will take care of replying back to the user. So that's another advantage. Yeah.
Okay.
So please,
Okay.
you say you were about to say something, right?
I wanted to say the type of proxy is the squid one. This is only
Yeah,
the only option that we have it, or is one of
I
the option.
this is the major thing which comes as part of the Linux. Squid is the major. Squid proxy is the uh, predominantly being used, like Apache, like Apache. I think Apache and Nginx is there. So Squid proxy is. I mean, I have not heard of any other proxy server.
Okay. Okay. So this is
Yeah,
like free available,
free. Yes,
correct?
yes. It's free. It's free for
Okay.
all versions. Even Ubuntu is also there. Red Hat. Everybody is having this Squid.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now we are going through the installation steps. Install squid and this one. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So first two steps we have completed. We have three steps also completed, started and enabled. And the this third and fourth and fifth steps are the ones that we are required to create the authentication thing. So this authentication can be included as part of the proxy. For example, if some user is trying to access an internet website, for example, a user is there in the enterprise local network, and he is trying to access facebook.com or some website on the internet, and he will we can force the user to enter a credential. So the credentials can be like we can give this credential here. So once the credential is shared, then only people will be able to access those websites. So if those credentials is not known, so they will never be able to access those things. So that's another thing, so we can do out of this proxy. So This step creates a password for accessing the proxy server, uh, for accessing any website through the proxy. Okay, so there is a file that we may have to create, and the file is name is squid underscore passwd. So I've already created this. This is a file that I've created. So using the touch command, it's created. We have to
This
give
is
the
empty
one.
file you created.
Yes, yes, empty file. This is an empty file that's created. The next step is to give the ownership to Squid. So if you see, the ownership is given to Squid here. This is also done. If you see, the file's ownership is in Squid. That's also done. Next one is to create the password. So the password creation command is ht password, and you may have to create, this is the command to do that. So ht password is etc squid password is the file that we have created to store the password. This file that we have just created using the touch command is to store the password. The password that is being stored will be stored in encrypted format by base 64 is the encryption that's being used. So whatever we enter as password, so it will store over there. So client 1, maybe I will give it as client 2. Client 2, and password I'm going to give.
So you're resetting the password for Squid.
No, this is mm, I'm this password, actually I'm creating a user and username and password. This
Oh,
username
okay.
I'm creating a client name. Client 2 is the name that I've created, and I'm entering
Okay.
a password for this. And if you see this file, the password that I've just entered is getting stored in this location. Which location? The file that's just we have created. So the file that we have just created is squared password. Previously it was an empty file. We created as an empty file, and I had already given client 1, and there was a credential for it, and now I've just given client 2. So that's all. And the password for the client 2 is also now appearing here, but it is an encrypted, so we will not be able to see what's the password. So there are two usernames that are given for the squid users. Squid
Okay. And
users,
what is this HT password? This is like to create the user.
correct. User credential. HT password is a
Okay.
tool, HTTP tool. So
Okay.
just this is the
Okay. Okay.
tool we had installed this, no? So this one.
It's
So you see
specific
the
for Squid.
squid, yes.
Okay.
So we
Okay. Clear.
can use this tool to create the password. So this password is now created. Password is there right now. Okay, so next one is we may have to configure the squid configuration. The squid configuration is present in squid.conf. Open this. Squid configuration file. Open. First thing is I have created an ACL. So I talked about an ACL. So ACL is the one that will restrict the access to the network. So uh, how we are configuring is, so for each and every interface, so we are going to configure that this interface has to go through this uh, proxy server. So that's how we are going to configure in the client side. So I will talk about that. So all of these things are connected in a network called 172.15.0.0. So I'm configuring the ACL, and there is a default ACL which is already there called local net. and the source is this. So what I'm telling is, whichever machine that is coming, whichever node that is coming from this source uh, network with this IP from this source network. So please go ahead and allow. So that's the ACL that I've given. The name of the ACL is local net, and the type of the ACL is SRC. SRC means source. So the signature that is present in the source packet, source thing should be 172.15.0.0. So that's the one thing that we may have to configure. So there are other things which is there by default. In case if we have a different IP address, we may have to configure over here. So this is one, and that's a first configuration that we may have to do. ACL local net source IP to allow the local network. So next configuration is cache directory UFS. So this is a cache directory var spool squid, var spool, var spool squid. There's a configuration which is already there for cache. So we just have to uncomment it, uncomment, and um, we are saying that same thing, but it was uncommented out, uncomment and adjust the following to add a discuss cache directory. So I do not want to change the default cache directory. So I'm going to keep the same cache directory var spool squid. So if you see the cache, so it will be 100 topics and 16 subtopics, and each 16 subtopics 256 will be subtopics to the 16. So that's how the cache is being stored. So we'll see that as well. Okay, so that is one. And the NCSA authentication that I just talked about. So first thing is before that ACL local net we have created. This is a ACL element is been created. So to make it more effective, so we will have to have the HTTP access. That's the access list. So this is the access list. This will say uh, HTTP access local net. So this is already there by default. So I have not changed anything. So only this is in allowed state. So the all the ACL elements that are part of the local net will be activated. So all of these things are there by default. So I did not do anything. So all of these things will get activated. I just added only this. So all these things are allowed. So these are the allowed network for this proxy. So that's what it means. Okay, next another ACL I'm going to create. The other ACL is called as the NCSE users. NCSE user. This is another ACL that I've created, and the type of the ACL is proxy auth, and it is required. So this is one thing I'm saying. And HTTP access allow NCSA users. This is the access list that I'm giving. So by seeing both of these things, so the system would come enable the NCSA users to for entering the authentication credentials. So the credentials are stored in the database which is present under etc squid password. So that's the one that we have. That's where we have our username password entered. So we may have to give this auth param directive to tell the database of the credentials. Okay, so that's all we have to do in the squid proxy server as such. So once we are done, so we may have to restart the squid proxy. Save this and restart. It's a little slow, um, but it will come out. Yes. So it's restarted successfully, and you can see the status of the squid. So it's all active and running. Okay. Now we may have to do something on the client side. Okay. So client's side, since we have to do these changes in the GUI, we would need to connect to the GUI. We can take any PC. Let me take Fedora. Firefox. Go to the Firefox and go to the settings. And search for proxy here. So over here, you may have to select the proxy. It's 172.15.0. Um, 70. Yeah, 70. So that's a proxy server IP address. And 3128, that's a port number 3128. So before that, we also have to enable 3128 port in the firewall. So that's one. Also use this for HTTPS. That's all. That's all the configuration is. So let's try to access. Before that, let's see if we are able to reach this.
This is Fedora machine.
This is a Fedora. Yeah.
No more Fedora setting.
Yeah. So all are same family. I have taken just same family thing: Red Hat, Fedora, and CentOS. Okay. So ping to this one 172.15.0.70. It's pinging. It's reachable. It's one more thing we may have to do. Yeah. So we can go. So I just before trying to enter anything, so it's already uh, prompting me to enter the username and the password here. So this is the username and password that I already entered there. So I'm going to enter the username. So now it is allowing me in, and then I can browse whatever things that I want. If I don't enter the credentials, so he will not let me in to browse anything. Same thing can be done in the same thing can be done in the Windows also. I've done this in the Windows as well. So Windows configuration, let's go to Edge, Microsoft Edge, proxies. Okay, let me go to the There's a Chrome browser. So proxy settings we will have to do. Go to the settings and settings here. Easy thing is to search for proxy. So it is opening here. So use a proxy server. So currently it is off. I can make it on. IP address is this 172.15.0.17. Now it's enabled. It's on. And if I try to access any website, it will prompt me to enter the credential. So the credential login is asking for the entering. So the moment I entered the credential, it's letting me into the website. So this is one thing, and we like this we can create multiple ACL even to restrict some websites for the users and things like that. So that can also be done. We have seen this in Linux as well as in Windows. Yeah, so that's about the web proxy.
The slides
Squid.
you are saving there, right?
Yeah, I've
Alex, in our session.
yes, Rafi. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll remove the proxy server setting. Otherwise it will keep asking me every time. So
Okay.
that's about.
And
Yeah.
before we go for the next topic, Alex, just I want to ask you out of the box,
Mm-hmm.
outside our like actually discussion.
Mm-hmm.
For there is a wild character definition
Mm-hmm.
cheat sheet, like parameters like dollar, star, caret,
Yeah.
dot,
Mm-hmm.
question mark.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you call this one? Do you have this cheat sheet with you where we are defining, the raw data where we the parameters that we configure? For example,
Mm-hmm.
if we want any condition to search for specifically a digit, like 11, not 111. So we
Mm-hmm.
normally give a wild character, no, at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So just 11 and then dollar, for example, or caret, for example.
Mm. So you
Do
want
you
to
have
search the
this
file. There is a way to do it, but it's not a cheat sheet. There is a way
in
to do it
XML
that
normally? Yeah, normally in XML we use this, right, for the criterias.
yeah, that's called as regular expression. So regex, they will say regex. So suppose if you want to search a file name starting or ending with C
Yeah.
or starting with the A and ending with C, file name
Yes.
starting with A and ending with C, yes, we can
Yes.
give an expression to the Linux to search for it, and then it
Yes.
can give us the output. Yes, we can do that. So that can be done.
Do you have this? Do you have this one? The definitions.
Uh, yeah, we have. That's maybe I'll cover it tomorrow. So it's one simple thing. So we may have to. It's part of the grep. There is a command called grep. So we can use a command called grep. We can use, or there's a command called find. Can use the command
Uh,
find, which we can use to search a
mm,
particular file name that starts with
mm,
this and start with that, or things like that. So it's all something to do with I mean, grep is actually if you want to do it with a content, if you want to do something with a content. So if you have multiple files and you want to look for a content or a pattern,
mm,
say for example
mm.
$123, there are 10 files are there, and we want to show all the locations where this $123 is placed in
Okay.
all of these files. We
Okay.
can use a command called grep. So that
Okay.
is one command. There's another command called find. Find is a command which you can use to search for files with starting with some uh, patterns. So all kinds of patterns. So suppose if you have a file starting with A and three let characters after that, so we can use
Mm,
find command.
Okay, okay,
all that.
okay,
So yeah, we can do that. So maybe I can quickly cover
okay,
that. Yeah,
okay, sure.
tomorrow. Yeah,
No problem. Okay, boss.
yeah. Okay. So the next topic that I'm going to show to you is mail server. That's a mail server. So
Okay,
email server, quick thing. So mail servers are the ones uh, that actually sends and receives the emails. So this is the ones that sends and receives emails. The protocols that are being used is called SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and there's another two protocols called Internet Message Access Protocol, IMAP. Another one is called POP3. So these either one of these things would be used for accessing the mailboxes. So we'll see these things in a minute. So there are multiple mail servers are available. Gmail is having a mail server. Outlook is having a mail server, and who else? Some few mail servers are there. And in Linux, we have SendMail one. SendMail is little primitive, and now we are going to discuss Postfix. Postfix is the mail server which we are going to see. Postfix is a open source mail transfer agent. So I'll talk about what is mail transfer agent in a minute. So another thing called Dovecot is basically is the open source IMAP for IMAP and POP3 server. So these are the things that we are going to see. So this is a picture. So the user is entering email and goes to the SMTP server, and SMTP server is actually uh, passing it to the internet, and sometimes it may pass it to another SMTP server. Sometimes it may pass to yeah, whichever SMTP server it's required to be passed. So we'll pass down to that, and finally the SMTP server. The finally will go to the destination SMTP server that is called as MDA, which is mail delivery agent. So here there will be a mailboxes that will be present here. All the mail that we had intended to send, which is present in this location. So appropriate email box, the mail that we have sent will go and reside inside this SMTP server, and go and get placed into the appropriate email box. And the recipient user who is sitting at the other end, so he will have to have the uh, dovecot configured, which is the IMAP and POP. So he will use this IMAP and POP to connect to the mail server here to retrieve the emails from the email box of his user, and so he will be able to retrieve the emails that he has. It is there in his email box. So we will see the a demo and we'll get more clarity. So I use some terminologies like MDA, MTA, and MUA. We'll see all that. So now this is a picture. The mail user agent is the mail user agent. So this is actually the user. So mail user agent. There is one mail user agent at the top, another mail user agent at the bottom. So the one at the top is the sender, and the other one is the recipient. This is the sender, and this is the recipient. So he's sending an email here. So it goes here, and the recipient email address is recipient at the rate of domain.com. So that is the recipient's email address. This is the recipient's email address of this. So so it is going to it's first being received by the SMTP server. That's something like Postfix or SendMail or Gmail, whatever. So first it will be received over here, and the moment it is received, so it's going to do some one quick check. The check is the recipient in my list of recipient or not? So what does it mean? So it means, so he's going to check whether this recipient at the rate of domain.com. So he's going to do a quick check whether this recipient is within his reach or within his network or not. So there are multiple people who are connected to this. So he's going to do a quick check whether this guy is sitting within his reach. So in this case, it is not within his reach. So what he is going to do is he is going to do the action of mail transfer agent. So he's going to do the mail transfer agent job. So that means he's going to send this email to his neighbor, and this neighbor is also an SMTP server, and he is going to receive the email that is sent by his friend, that is the this SMTP server, and she's going to do the same check again. Is the recipient in my list of recipients? Yes. So in this case, yes. So this guy, the recipient is within his reach. So what he's going to do is the mail that he has received, he's going to put in his mailbox. There is a mailbox here. So he's going to put the mail in his mailbox. So and he will keep it in his storage. So the protocols POP3 and IMAP, there are two kinds of protocols that we have to retrieve the messages from these mailboxes. So this user agent, he is going to have the mail client. So the mail client is Outlook mail client, Gmail client, or there are many Thunderbird and so many mail clients are there. So we may have to configure the mail client to connect to this mail server. So we will have to configure it to connect to this mail server. He will connect to it, and he will try to access his mailbox, and he is going to retrieve all the emails, and it will be shown in his Outlook window. So these POP3 and IMAP are two different protocols. So POP3 is going to retain all the emails in the mailbox. So what it means is he will not remove the content from his email mailbox. Rather, he will keep the content there itself, and he will provide the reading ability. Whereas the IMAP is something like if the person is already seen the email, so the content will be taken out from the mailbox. The from the mailbox, the email will not be residing. It will be either you can save it in your local PC, or it will be you can take any action. So either you can save it in your local PC, or you can take an action to delete it. So that's the IMAP. So IMAP, the issue with IMAP is, suppose if you have a mail server, and if you want to uh, uh, if you want to give the access to the user through mobile as well as the laptop. So if the user is already seen the email through mobile, so the user will not be able to view the email through the laptop. So because it's already seen, so the mail box will show as empty, since the mail is already been read through the mobile device. Likewise, so people, based on their requirement, they use POP3, either POP3 or IMAP. So POP3 will not remove the email from the mailbox. Rather, it will keep it over there only, and it will users can read it with whatever devices whenever they want. So that's the thing. So mail transfer agent is also a part of the SMTP. SMTP will do the transfer of the mail from one SMTP server to other server. So that job is called mail transfer agent. So in this guy is actually doing a mail delivery agent. So which means the received mail is delivered to the appropriate email box. So this is the job of mail delivery agent. This is another feature of the mail server. So he is just put the received email into the appropriate user's mailbox. So that's called as a mail delivery agent. So user agents are the ones, they will uh, be used to send the message or receive the email message at the user level. So this is how the mail server would function. So now we'll see how to configure and how to work on it. So the configuration files like main.cf contains global configuration. So this is the one that we are going to use, configure. And there are many other things, master.cf, access, transport, maps, email addresses to relay hosts and things like this. So many other features we are going to show the main.cf configuration. So demo setup, I am having a mail server here. So that is running in 172.15.0.12, and my DNS is present in 11. So there is a Windows mail client, and I'm also going to demonstrate in Linux mail client. So it's DNS client, it's mail client. So Windows, I am using Thunderbird mail client. I'll show that in a moment. Okay, so how it will work is, so um, in the Windows, when I try to configure, when I try to send out a mail, first it will try to reach out to the DNS server. First, it will try to reach out to the DNS server and try to get the IP address of the mail server, so which is present in the DNS server. So the IP address is present in the DNS server. So this guy is going to reach out to the DNS server and retrieve the mail server's IP. So the moment the mail server's IP is retrieved, so he is going to send the email using the IP address to the mail server. So this is how it's going to work. So first configuration is to we have to do it in the mail server. So MX is the record that will do the mail server configuration. So in INMX record mail.chosentraining.com, and my subdomain is mail, and in a record is present in 172.15.0.12. So that's where my mail server is running. And from my mail clients, I can use whether I can check whether my mail server is reachable or not using ping command. Ping mail.chosentraining.com you can use, or you can use host mail.chosentraining.com to just to check whether host this command is only available only in Linux. Cannot use it in um, Windows. So we can, however, we can use ping command to check whether the connectivity with the mail server is good or not. Configure the DNS server IP in the mail server machine. So mail server machine in the mail server machine, we need to configure the DNS server actually. So otherwise, uh, uh, on that particular interface, we may have to say which is the DNS server. So we will have to make sure that is configured on the mail server machine as well as the mail client machine. Okay, so coming to the main.cf, this is the main configuration file of postfix. So okay, by the way, we may have to install that I missed out. Yum install, we'll install that. Yum install postfix. This is actually trying to reach out to the local repository. Oh, I think I have already installed. So it's actually trying to do connect to the local repository, and the local repository, I think the HTTP server is not running. No, it's running. There is some issue, but yum install postfix will do the installation, but it is some issue on the installation, but it's already installed. I'm going to skip this, and in your case, you will definitely get it installed. Second part is actually we may have to configure the postfix configuration main.cf. So this is a configuration file. Can do the configuration one after another. So before that, we may have to make sure the uh, DNS is configured. I'll show the DNS configuration. Name the zone file. So zone file. So this is the mail server in mx10 mail.chosentraining.com, and mail server is 172.15.0.12. So this is my mail server. You see, okay, 0 is 172.15.0.12. Okay, so we can quickly check whether we are able to resolve the mail server. We are able to resolve it. We can give host command, host. So it's 172.15.0.12. So to have this, we may have to have the resolve.conf file configuration. So resolve.configuration file, we will have to specify name server as 172.15.0.11. So this is how the only then we will be able to resolve this mail server in this location. Okay. So this is the DNS part. Okay, so we'll start with the configuration now. So the configuration is first with the host name, domains, all of that. We'll see that in a minute. So my networks, we may have to configure this local network. So this one configuration, and for host name, we may have to specify my host name is this mail.chosentraining.com. The domain name is this, so that is configured here. inet interface is equal to all. So this is means actually this mail server will work on all the network interfaces in this machine. So there's no specific interfaces that I'm listening to. So I'm listening to everyone. Internet protocols IPv4. I'm not using IPv6. So IPv4 alone. So here dollar domain is being added. Dollar my domain. Dollar my domain is dollar my host name. Dollar my host name is a variable that's pointing to the chosentraining.com. mail.chosentraining.com. So that's been added now. My networks is added. Mail directory is present under root. So that's a mailbox. So that's a mailbox directory. So we can configure if there is anything else we want to have anywhere else, we can specify that. Mail SMTP banner. So that's message size limit. So we can give the lower size limit is this and higher size limit is this. So I think this is some MB 1024 MB to 1 GB, I think. Message mailbox size limit 1 GB. And the POP3 is SASL. So the POP3 server that I'm using is Dovecot. That's that's mentioned here. So these are the configuration that I have done. So I have given the list of configuration that we have to do in this file. So I have done that. So next one is install the POP3 server. So command is install dovecart, and once you install, you will have this dov configuration. This is very simple configuration. We'll have to say listen star. So listen star will listen to all the IPs, and then we can say there is no authentication, plain text. Authentication is equal to no, change from yes to no. Previously it was uh, yes, so we wanted to have plain text authentication. So we can make it no here, and auth mechanism is plain login. And this mail location also we can specify here, and then we can uncomment this configuration. So we'll quickly see this configuration in the dovecart. So this is the listen equal to star. So that's the configuration that we have given. Next one is 10-auth conf. Just 2-3 minutes I will complete.
Okay.
Auth mechanism is plain login. Previously, it was by default it was not plain login, so I've uncommented this. Disable plain text auth was yes, I made it no, so I'm enabling it. Plain text authentication is enabled now. So these are the configuration, and there's another yeah, so that's all here. So my dovcat is also running. Systemctl status dovcat is running. Okay, now I'm going to create two users. I've already created. I'll just try logging in. So one is user one. Currently I'm in user one. I got another user called user two. This is a user two. The two users have configured along with password. Okay, so that's next job to verify. Configure the firewall. So SMTP, all of these firewalls, all of these things have to be enabled in the firewall. SMTP, POP3, IMAP, all of that thing I'm enabled. So another thing called MailX. MailX is a very primitive utility to test the mail client. As simple like a mail client, it will work. I've downloaded it, downloaded this RPM from this location. This location, this RPM I've taken, and then installed it. Install MailX, this one. So this will install. So if you, this will be used as a mail client for Linux. For the Windows, I've used it Thunderbird. So I'll show my Windows first. So first Windows, this Thunderbird. Uh, so this is the Thunderbird mail client. So if you have, so open this. This is a free open source software. I've just downloaded and installed it. The account settings, go to the account settings, and there's an account section. You can say add mail account. So if you press add mail account, it'll open up a page like this. Specify whatever things that you want to give. So likewise, I've specified this user one at chosentraining.com. So this is the edit SMTP server. So all of these things are given here. So the server name is mail.chosentraining.com. So that's the server name, and I've given that. And same way, I've created another user account for user two. So both are configured in the uh, same email client. So for demonstration purpose. Okay, so once configured user one, so I can go to the inbox of user one, and I can try to send any emails to the user two. Currently, I'm in the user one. I can send a message to the user two. User two just chosen training mail.com. So I'm going to say test email from user one. So you can see the message is received here in the inbox. You can see the message. Hi there. Cheers. So what it is doing is, moment I send a message, so it is going to the mail server that is running in uh, 172.15.0.12, and I have configured the DNS server, so it is getting resolved. The mail.chosentraining.com is getting resolved, so you can see that mail.chosentraining. Mail.chosentraining is getting resolved as 172.15.0.12. So we are able to resolve that, and so he is reaching to the mail server, and the mail server is seeing the user 2, who is the destination or the recipient, is also located within his reach. So he is actually putting that in his inbox of user 2, and user 2 is uh, mm, from the user 2's inbox, this mail client, this is the Thunderbird mail client, he is able to receive it. So same way we can also do this in the Linux using mailx client. So mailx client is very uh, simple one we can use. So I've sent this test email from Linux mailx. So you can see mail is being received in this test email from Linux mailx. That's the mail I sent from Linux client is also being received.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all about mail server. So